So we welcome all the devotees for today's most auspicious appearance day of His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj. So we are very fortunate that our His Grace Rasamrata Prabhu has agreed to give a class on Maharaj for our spiritual advancement and enlightenment. Let us welcome Rasamrata Prabhu by lovingly and loudly chanting 3 times Hare Krishna Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Over to you, Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much for your kindness, and also thanks to His Grace Bahurup Narasimha Prabhu and Siddhakaranga Prabhu for giving me an opportunity to speak something on Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj. So we will start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagvat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam साग्रजातान् सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So once again, we welcome all the devotees on this most auspicious day of appearance of His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is Guru of Srila Prabhupada. So sometimes somebody asked Srila Prabhupada that to say something about Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Prabhupada said, what can I say about my Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur? He was a Vaikuntha man. He said he was a Vaikuntha man. And one time on the appearance day of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada gave some instruction to the devotees, but they really didn't understand. It was in the very initial days of ISKCON. Then Srila Prabhupada personally cooked in 1 hour. He made 13-course meal, and he always contemplated lifetime in serving of his spiritual master. So on one of such appearance day of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada decided to make khichdi, and he put so much of his heart and soul into making that khichdi, because he said that my Guru Maharaj loved khichdi. And then the disciples of Srila Prabhupada who ate that khichdi, they actually concluded they never had such a wonderful khichdi. So many times Srila Prabhupada would personally do a lot of service even at the advanced age for the pleasure of his Guru Maharaj. And obviously we know a lot of stories, and as Bahuru Prabhu had told me, we will try to speak not on the regular stories or the pastimes which we know, but we'll just try to whatever by the mercy of the Lord comes to our mind, and whatever I have heard from the seniors and our gurus, I will try to summarize whatever I can assimilate. So as it is said that grandfather is more merciful than father. So one time, one devotee made halwa and brought in front of Srila Prabhupada. Again, it was initial time, and Prabhupada, he actually laughed looking at that halwa, and he said, "Is it? What is this?" He said, "It is halwa." Prabhupada said, "This is not halwa," and Prabhupada, kind of in one way rejected it, and this person, he was very dejected. So he went in front of Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Thakur his picture, and then he told that grandfather is more merciful than the father, so you please accept it. And Prabhupada's servant told that Prabhupada, he is actually going in front of your Guru Maharaj, and he's saying like this. And Prabhupada became so happy. Prabhupada said, "Okay, bring that halwa," and Prabhupada ate the full halwa, whatever was made. So that's how he actually loved his Guru Maharaj. And one time, some reporter asked Prabhupada that, "Are you a Messiah? You are a Messiah?" Then Prabhupada said, "No, no, no. Messiah is actually sent by God. I'm not the one who's sent by God, but I'm sent by my Guru Maharaj, and therefore I have come here." So, to understand Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's life and his achievement, we need to also go into little Gaudiya history. So, one time Prabhupada said that 500 years back, when there was great problem, even in Navadip, where devotees were mocked and they were not taken seriously, Vaishnavism was not really rampant, and it has like deteriorated a lot. And at that time, Advait Acharya, he actually started praying, and he prayed to Lord Krishna, and because of his loud prayer, Lord appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and re-established the movement. Hare Krishna movement actually is started by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But later again, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached around the globe, indeed it's actually described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that the whole planet was inundated with the holy name, obviously at the borders of India mainly, because when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made this wonderful announcement saying Prithvi te ache jad nagaradi gram sarvatra prachar hoibe mora naam. So he actually meant Prithvi means the whole earth. But while Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was himself on this planet, obviously at the borders of India, but mainly in the Bengal, it was restricted. The Gaudiya Vaishnavism was mainly in Bengal, and then obviously by Srila Prabhupada's effort, that it actually got distributed all over the world. And that's also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that more a Senapati will come. But Prabhupada has done such a wonderful miracle, and we understand that the good fruits come from good tree. So if Prabhupada has done so much, we need to also understand that what and who will be his guru. So anyway, after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, till Shad Goswamis, and little later everything was fine, but later again it got actually deteriorated, and it got so much deteriorated that one time it was, I think, Vivekanand who commented that Vaishnavism is actually a sex religion, because even the devotees were breaking regulatory principles. They were actually, everything got like concocted. So there were concocted mantras, there were concocted teachings, there were upsampradaya, there was a lot of deviation which has happened. And uh, that time Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he actually came and he wanted to revive it. He wanted to reform. But he said that what could I do alone? I cannot do alone. So he also started praying as Advaita Acharya was praying. Bhakti Vinod Thakur started praying to Lord Chaitanya and also to Lord Krishna and saying that I don't want the whole sun, but at least give me one ray, ray of Vishnu. And then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was born to Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And when Bhakti Vinod Thakur made the astrological chart for Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he was named as Vimala Prasad. So the astrologer told that all the guna of a Maha Purush was there in his astrology chart. So he understood that maybe, this is the ray of Vishnu. But this confirmation was made by Lord Jagannath when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Bimal Prasad, was 6 months old, and there was a Rath Yatra procession. And since Bhakti Vinod Thakur was a magistrate of Bengal at that time, and also he was the in charge of the Jagannath temple, he had a big house at Grand Road of Jagannath Puri. So while the Rath was going, actually Rath came and stopped in front of the house of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and Bhagwati Devi, his wife, actually brought Bimal Prasad, and they thought that, okay, this is a good opportunity to go and have darshan of Lord Jagannath from very near. So as she went, she circumambulated the cart, and when she came and put Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Bimal Prasad at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Jagannath, he was actually trying to catch Jagannath, and from the hand of Lord Jagannath, a garland fell directly on Bimal Prasad. So this was the confirmation to Bhakti Vinod Thakur that yes, what I was praying for the ray of Vishnu, he is actually that ray of Vishnu. And obviously we know the glory of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that he was also known as Dradavrati, that when he was 3 years old, one time Bhakti Vinod Thakur brought some mangoes, and he actually took one mango and ate it. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur said that, oh, first we have to offer it to Krishna, then only we can accept it as prasadam. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who was just a 3-year-old boy, he got so much taken aback that he took a vow which he maintained for lifelong, that I won't take mango in my whole life. Now we can understand that, can we do such kind of vow? It's very, very difficult. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he exposed Mayavadis. He was also known as Simha Guru, and there are a lot of books, so we can read about Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So there is this book called Ray of Vishnu. Then there is Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav, which is a very big book written by His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, and many other small books and many lectures which is there about him. And there is one devotee called Pranav Prabhu who has actually done a PhD on Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he has written some resource material, and the resource material what he has obtained is obtained from Ramakrishna Mutt, I heard in the lectures of the devotees. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a great proponent of, he was actually revolutionary. It is said that Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was a reformer, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a revolutionary. So what is the difference between reformer and revolutionary? I don't know if somebody would like to tell me. What is the difference between reformer and a revolutionary? Okay, just for the sake of time, I will continue. So it is said that, for example, the example is given that suppose there is a building and the paint of the building has come off. So reformer will say, okay, make new paint. But revolutionary person will say, okay, demolish this building and make a new building. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur was little soft actually in his way of preaching, but Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a revolutionary. He actually started everything which was so revolutionary, and we will try to understand his revolution. So we will talk much about his revolution, that what he did actually. But the main contribution what he did was that he actually broke all the up siddhantas, and that's how his pranam mantra is siddhanta dhvanta harine. So he actually broke all the up siddhantas of this. Even it in the Gaudiyas, it had happened that after a long time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, Vaishnavas were not behaving in a proper way. and many wrong things were happening there. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was also known as uh, no walking encyclopedia. He was very expert. It is said that at the age of 5, he would have memorized the whole Bhagavad Gita. At the age of 7 years, he would give lectures on Srimad Bhagavatam. At the age of 10 year, he would actually write commentaries in Sanskrit. And this is not some fabricated stories, by the way. These are the historical fact that he could do. He was such a wonderful person. And obviously, sometimes we also see on television and something that some child is very extraordinary, known as computer child and things like that. So he was obviously very important person, and he had memorized everything actually. And sometimes he will do multitasking also. So while he was in the school, and teacher is teaching something, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is reading some books of the Vaishnava Acharyas, and teacher will say that Bimala Prasad, you are not paying attention, please pay attention. And they will ask question to ensure that they will punish Bimal Prasad, but Bimal Prasad will actually give answer of everything, and even more what teacher would have taught. And then he will again go and tell that, okay, can I read my books? And he will start reading his book. So he will travel in train. So while traveling also, wherever the train will stop, on that station he will actually start giving the lecture. And sometime it will happen that even the guard of the train and the driver of the train, they also come and hear him, and train will be halted at that station. So he was such a wonderful person. And it is said that he would not read books, but he would read libraries. So he will complete libraries. One time he wanted to defeat Mayavad, so he went to one Mayavadi library, and in that Mayavad library, in 24 hours, he actually read the whole books. And this Mayavadis, they were thinking that, oh, he's interested in our philosophy, but he went there to refute the philosophy. And then he actually completely rebuked them. Uh, he was so powerful in his preaching that in 8 years, he established 85 Gaudiya Mathas. That was his achievement. And the first Gaudiya Math he established was in Yogapit, and it was a very remote place at that time. And it was actually like a jungle, Yogapit, and he would stay there alone and preach. And little by little, some pilgrimage will come there, and they will come and attend the program and things like that. And the governor of Bengal, he actually became I think it was Viceroy. So Viceroy of Bengal, he became very impressed with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and he offered him. He said that I will sanction a rail line, from Kolkata. They can directly reach to Yogpit, that is Mayapur. So rail line I will give. But Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he refused. He said, I don't want materialistic people to come to holy land of Mayapur and pass stool. This is what he said actually. He said that if they really want to come here, let them come walk, let them come walking, perform some austerity, and by this they will get some Agyat Sukruti. And then he started actually ferry boat, and in the ferry boat started by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Indeed, for many years it was only that, then later the road and the train actually is getting connected to Mayapur. But he was very strict about that, and he would say that the price to be paid for the ferry ticket of the boat was only chanting Harinam. So he said the moment you sit in the boat, you have to raise your hand and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And if somebody stops chanting in between, then he would say that I will put you in the Ganga. So just keep chanting. So he will actually do some certain things which were really different, very revolutionary. Like purposely, sometimes he would keep his Gaudiya Math into debt, so that the resident staying in the temple, they work hard to pay off the debt, and they are not there in the temple just lying there actually, because that was the one of the reason of many of them joining matha, that they are getting 3 times of prasadam and a nice facility, and therefore sometimes they will go. But he will force his disciple to go and do fund collection. So he would send his sannyas disciple to do fund collection. So one time his sannyas disciple, he actually went somewhere, and everyone was actually looking at him, and he didn't understand that why everyone's eyes is actually on me. And then later he understood that he went to a prostitute's house to collect fund accidentally, and he didn't know. So when he actually came to know that this is what has happened, he felt very, very guilty that being a sannyasi, forget about going to woman, I went to somebody who was actually a prostitute, and he came and told Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said that, this is what I done, and now I'm not, I actually get so much of bad name that I'm leaving the matha and I'm going back. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told him that, there are two paths leading to Golok Vrindavan. One path is very short, but it's thorny. It's very difficult path. Walking is very, very difficult, but it is short. There is another path which is very easy, but it's a long path. So he said the path chosen by brahmacharis and sannyasis are a thorny path. You have a lot of difficulties in that, but surely it's a shortcut path and you will reach. So, please understand what you want to do. Do you want to, get yourself purified? And then he actually continued. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur always was for preaching. He has this mood of preaching, and he was an acharya who actually went extra mile for preaching purposes. And this is a very classic sentence he would say, Pran ache jar save hetu prachar. That one who has life can only preach. So he put missionary spirit in his disciples, and he himself did so much. Like, we will just go and understand when little further. But for the preaching purpose, he would sometimes put Western clothes also. He would actually ride a motorbike, this like Rajdoot and that kind of big vehicles, and he would go into that. He was the first person who used stitched clothes, of sannyasi. Earlier, there was no sannyasi who would actually wear stitched cloth, but he would use stitched cloth. He would use sometimes the coat, pant, trousers, and things like that. And also, he would use Rolls Royce. Indeed, it is said that in those years, because Bhakti Vinod Thakur was a magistrate, a very big man, and as a perk, the Britishers has given him the railway. Nobody gets railway in perk. So today also, if we go, so we can see it in Nadia. There is a rail line which is laid by the Britishers for Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So he was a very wealthy person. So there were only two people in the whole of that area who had Rolls Royce. So one was, I think, the Viceroy of Bengal, and the other one was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And he would go in his Rolls Royce car to preach. And while the Rolls Royce will go, the whole village will actually go behind, just to look at the Rolls Royce car. And Rolls Royce will act as a magnet to bring people. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati will come out of Rolls Royce car and he would speak. And sometimes his speech would be how to be renunciate, how to be brahmachari. Like I remember a couple of years back when, we had one big program in Burj Al Arab in Dubai. And it was like attended by most of many CEOs, and His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj and His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj, they were the speakers. And the topic given was simple living and high thinking. So we were thinking that, the topic is such wonderful topic, but it is being spoken in Burj Al Arab. And then Maharaj obviously clarified that what actually it means to be simple living and high thinking. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was very, very revolutionary. He would preach, and he will say that if one who stops preaching, he is a living corpse. एक जिंदा लाश है वो. So we should know that, who are our ancestors, क्या विरासत उन्होंने हमारे को दी है. So in 1930, in the reigns of Britishers until today, the tree which was planted by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is, still growing and bearing fruits. And, there are branches. And so somebody told that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was compared as a spiritual warrior. He would fight a lot. And warrior is always, he fights according to the situation that is confronting him. Okay, so the purpose of fighting is to win, but tactics may be different. So different acharyas establish different tactics. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in the war against illusion, he used some strategies, some tactics which were very, very revolutionary, which nobody else in the world has done before Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur did. And he, meaning, all of us apply Krishna consciousness in our life, but the method of application sometimes differs. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he actually introduced system of sannyas in his ashram. First, he actually institutionalized bhakti. Okay, so let us try to focus on this one important aspect, where that he institutionalized bhakti. Earlier than Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the bhakti was happening in a very informal way. There was no formal institution. Like even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, after that Shad Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baldev Vidya Bhushan, coming back to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and till the time of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Bhakti Vinod Thakur obviously established Namhattas, so he tried to do some kind of a congregational preaching program, but he did not also establish Gaudiya Math. So Gaudiya Math was first established by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he institutionalized bhakti, and many people rejected this idea. Forget about that year, Prabhuji's. You just try to understand that even today, some people are against institutional bhakti, and sometimes even I have known that I have come in front of some people who say that why you guys are actually telling about institution and ISKCON and things like that. Krishna is property of everybody, isn't it not? They come and ask the question that Bhagwan sabki property hai, Krishna is property of everybody, and then why, agar Bhagwan sabke liye hai, so why you have made this institution, and why you are limiting Krishna in four regulative principles, follow this and that and all those things. So if Krishna is God of everyone, why you need any institution? So this is the question even people ask now. So we can imagine at that time also, people would have definitely asked so many questions, and they would be so much of against of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But the first revolutionary work which he did was he established Gaudiya Math, proper Math, where he wanted to preach Krishna consciousness in a very formal way, like a university. It's not that you just. So basically the example is given. So if somebody asks this question that why do you need institution, okay, so what is the answer? What we can say that why we need institution? So the nice analogy and example is given that sometimes there is some tributary, it is called, I think it is called, some trickles of water, some small stream which comes from a mountain. So if a small stream comes from the mountain and the goal is to reach to the ocean, then for that stream of water, it's very, very difficult to reach to the ocean at its own, right? अगर एक छोटी सी पानी की धार अगर कोई पर्वत पे से निकल रही है, तो क्या संभावना है कि वो समुद्र तक पहुंच पाएगी? हाँ, अगर वो उसका फोर्स बहुत ज्यादा है और बहुत लंबी है, वो बहुत बड़ी है, if it is a vast amount of water, then maybe it might actually reach to ocean. But in all probability, if there is a small stream of water, it may not reach to the ocean. Then what is the way out? The way out is very simple. If that stream of water gets connected to a river, and the river is constantly flowing, and the river can reach to the ocean, so therefore it is said that the love of Godhead, or Krishna's lotus feet, is compared to that ocean. We jivas are that small stream of water which comes from a mountain, and an institution is compared with a river. So if that stream gets connected to the institution, that river can take it to, like for example, I am from Bombay. बॉम्बे में क्या होता है कि ट्रेन में बहुत गर्दी होती है. अभी कोरोना कॉल में तो कोई गर्दी होती नहीं है, लेकिन बहुत गर्दी होती है. एंड समटाइम्स यू हैव टू जस्ट गो एंड स्टैंड ऑन द रेलवे स्टेशन. पब्लिक अपने आप आपको ट्रेन में चढ़ा देंगे, आपका उधर थोड़ा मसाज करके और आपको उतार भी देंगे. सो यू हैव टू just be at the platform. So ISKCON is like a train. एक बार हम लोग अंदर घुसे हैं, तो that train will actually take us to the destination, and that destination is back home, back to Godhead, the Golok Vrindavan, and हमको उधर पहुंचा देगा. So it is like that river. So that stream, तो छोटे से पानी की धारा जो है, अगर वो एक नदी का आश्रय ले ले, तो वो नदी उस धारा को समुद्र में पहुंचा सकती है। उसी प्रकार से जीव जब इस प्रकार से भक्ति इंस्टीट्यूशन में जुड़ जाता है तो क्या होता है, उसके लिए भक्ति करना सरल हो जाता है, उसके लिए आसान हो जाता है। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल हम लोगों को, बहुत जनों को फिलोसफी पता भी होगा हमारे पूर्वजों से ये वो सब करके, लेकिन अगर इस्कॉन इंस्टीट्यूशन या फिर ऐसे जो दूसरे इंस्टीट्यूशन है, एनी इंस्टीट्यूशन फॉर दैट मैटर, तो कितने लोग हैं जो घर पे सुबह उठ के और अपने आप 16 माला लेके बैठेंगे और करेंगे और भक्ति करेंगे? नहीं। कई बार क्या होता है कि जब हम भक्तों के संग में आते हैं, हम केंद्र में आते हैं, हम मंदिर में आते हैं, तो सब भक्तों के सत्संग की वजह से बहुत सारी भक्ति हम सहज रूप से कर लेते हैं। नहीं तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है कि नहीं? तो बहुत कम ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो सेल्फ मोटिवेटेड होते हैं, एंड द सेल्फ मोटिवेटेड पीपल, devotees can do bhakti at their own, they don't require anything else, but we all require so much of help of each other, and then we can actually go forward. So therefore it is very very important that we need to be in the association of devotees and come to this institution. Like for example, if we are an institution, then you will be called for the program, you will come contribute there also. Somebody will check upon you. If somebody has attended, somebody has not attended, and somebody will ask, क्या हुआ प्रभु जी, आप प्रोग्राम में नहीं आए? We were doing the program for भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर, लेकिन आप नहीं आए. Somebody will ask something. So people will come together and then we can actually reach. Obviously sometimes there may be demerit of institution also, because what happens that when there is an institution, obviously there is a power, prestige comes along with that, and some people because of their power, their prestige, they might not allow the stream to go to the ocean, but sometimes they make some dam और कुछ उसका अपने ही पानी वहां से उठा के ले लेते हैं. Like it is said that जो यमुनोत्री में से जो यमुना निकलती है, अल्टीमेटली वृंदावन में यमुना में जाके मिलना चाहिए, लेकिन बहुत सारे जगह पे बिकॉज ऑफ द पॉलिटिक्स एंड ऑल, हरियाणा में, दिल्ली में उसके स्ट्रीम को रोक दिया जाता है. जैसे हथिनीकुट बैराज है, बिकॉज हम लोग जब यमुना सेव यमुना आंदोलन में जुड़े थे, तब वी एक्चुअली केम टू नो दैट द एक्चुअल वाटर ऑफ यमुना डजंट रीच वृंदावन. It is actually taken away by the government of UP, government of Haryana for their purposes actually. So sometimes the water is being taken by somebody else. Therefore it is very very important that we systematically perform our sadhana, taking shelter of the devotees, and then definitely to manage an institution, management is required, and the management can actually do it properly. Because when the institution is there, sometimes bad elements also enter. Like Prabhupada gives an example that when Krishna was born, Putana actually came within 6 days. When Krishna Putana came, and Putana came disguised as a devotee, and even Mother Yashoda and Rohini Mata couldn't recognize her. So sometimes all these things happens. Therefore we need to actually understand. So this was one thing. Secondly, he actually in that institution he reinforced and reintroduced sannyas ashram. Now if you know the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, I will just try to tell in maybe 2-3 minutes, then we will understand this properly, that what happened, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to preach and people were rejecting him. So he thought that if I take sannyas, then people will at least hear me and they understand. And in Brahma Vaivarta Puran, it is written that in Kali Yuga, sannyas is condemned. There is no sannyas to be given. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also quoted this verse, but he actually took sannyas, for the purpose of establishing Krishna consciousness movement. But there are other verses also in Brahma Vaivarta Puran which recommends sannyas. So it's not that point blankly sannyas is rejected in Kali Yuga. No, there are like conditions where somebody can do. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Obviously Nityananda Prabhu was a grahastha, and the disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, primarily the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, and the most prominent Goswamis were Sanatana Goswami and Rup Goswami. But because Rup Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, although from a Brahmanical birth, they had taken the service in under Nawab Hussain Shah, and he had actually given them the name and all those things. So they were like almost like like Yavanas. So they would always consider themselves as very very lowly person, and therefore they would also not even go inside Jagannath Puri temple. So at that time the society was obviously very different. There was a like caste system, and traditionally society would not accept certain things. So Roop and Sanatan, they would not go, and obviously out of their humility, although they could have gone, because being Hindu, they could have entered into Jagannath temple, but they would actually not enter. And many times, when first time Roop Sanatan went to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they put lot of grass in their teeth, and feeling so much of utter humility, they fell at the feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they told that mlecha sevi mlecha karmi mlecha kare kama go brahmana dohi sange amara sangama. And then he says that Jagai Madhai hoite koti koti gun adhama patita papi ame dui jan. He said that Jagai Madhai were really nice people. We are so fallen. We are more fallen than Jagai and Madhai. So like that, Roop Sanatan, they never took sannyas. Because even if suppose they would have taken sannyas, understand the situation of that time, the society would not have accepted Roop Sanatan taking sannyas, because they were almost like converted into the other faith. They were like Yavanas. So society would not accept them taking sannyas. So they never made any disciple also. Roop and Sanatan Goswami made only one disciple, and that was their nephew, Jeev Goswami. Jeev Goswami was the only disciple they had, and anybody else who came to take shelter of Roop and Sanatan, they would send them to Gopal Bhatta Goswami, because Gopal Bhatta Goswami was from Sri Sampradaya and from the Vaishnav family. So they would actually recommend. But other Goswamis also, because they would consider Roop and Sanatan as their senior, they also didn't take sannyas. So they all accepted Babaji dress. Okay, and they didn't take sannyas. So Jeev Goswami didn't take sannyas. Then Jeev Goswami preached three wonderful personalities: Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamanand Pandit, and Srinivas Acharya. And Jeev Goswami trained them, but obviously he didn't initiate them. So this devotees took initiation from different personalities. Like Narottam Das Thakur took initiation from Loknath Goswami, and others took from Hriday Chaitanya Prabhu and other personalities. So they also they didn't take. So what they thought, they said that if Jeev Goswami is not taking sannyas, if Roop Goswami is not taking sannyas, if Sanatan Goswami is not taking sannyas, we are also not qualified to take sannyas. So they also didn't take any sannyas. So like that, the line of the disciples were actually going, it was a respect line. And then when it came till Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he understood that actually I need to take sannyas to make. Now the problem was that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's guru, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, as you know, he had already left his body at that time. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he didn't want to take sannyas from Mayavadi sannyasis. So he actually took sannyas. So okay, that was one thing, that he took sannyas. That was one radical thing he did. Second thing, he took sannyas himself. He gave sannyas himself. So basically, you cannot give, like for example, if one wants to take initiation and there is a lot of time it is taking, somebody cannot say, okay, I will initiate myself. No, initiation need to be given. Sannyas needs to be given. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he right in the front of photo of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he actually accepted sannyas himself. So obviously there is a circumstances also described in scriptures where you can actually do and take sannyas. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that there is no mortal person on this planet of earth who is fit enough to give me sannyas, because all those people, because when Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj left his body, everyone started coming and claiming the body of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur came and said that no, you cannot touch body of my guru. They said that how can you say like that? He say, okay, tell me, if anybody who has not associated with woman, in a wrong way in last 1 year, please come and touch the body of my guru. So then, nobody came forward. So first, actually, he told that anybody who has not, had illicit relationship in last 3 days, come forward. Nobody came. Then he said that 7 days, then 1 month, then 2 months, then 6 months, then 1 year, like that. So nobody came forward. So he understood that all of them were like fallen, devotees. So he said that there is nobody who can actually give. So he himself took sannyas. So what revolutionary thing he did? He institutionalized bhakti. He gave sannyas to himself. and he understood that how this Christian missionaries, they were actually propagating, because it was at the time of Britishers, and Britishers, when they came to India, obviously they didn't come to India to appreciate the culture of India. They wanted to rule India. So they brought missionary spirit of conversion also along with them, and they actually started doing conversion of Indian people into different faith. So like that, he actually wanted to just give proper this thing. So Acharya is that person who brings order in the chaos. So at that time, the society was in chaos in all respect. There was like Britishers ruling. There was all this freedom fight which was going on. There was the Gaudiyas who had actually fallen from their practices. They were all doing nonsense and wrong things, that nobody had faith on the Vaishnavas. Indeed, it is said that some Vaishnavas will have bead bag in one hand and fish in another hand. Can you just imagine also, this scene, that they are having beads in one hand and fish in another hand. That was the position of actually, Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And sometimes these Vaishnavas even eat meat. They won't follow four regulative principles. So there was so much of chaos which happened at that time. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he took sannyas, to clear all this chaos which was happening at that time. And he introduced this uh, renounced order of life in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Okay, so that is one important thing. The another important contribution of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is that Ap Siddhanta Dhvanta Harine, that he would actually because there was so much of chaos which was happening in the Vaishnava society, there were many Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they were imitating wrong things. And to understand this point, we need to really understand a little bit about the Tantra Shastra. So there are two ways of acquiring knowledge. One is Vedanta and Upanishad, and another is Tantra Shastra. So what Tantra Shastra says, so it says that unless and until you abstain from matter, you cannot access spirit. Okay, you cannot achieve absolute truth, or you cannot achieve spirit unless and until you abstain from the matter. And Tantra, it says that you can access spirit by using matter. So Upanishad says that unless and until you abstain from the matter, you cannot achieve spirit. Tantra says that you can access spirit by using matter. So there are like two divisions in Tantra. One is called right-handed Tantra, and another is called left-handed Tantra. So this is little technical, but I will quickly just go. So right-handed Tantra is that Krishna manifests himself through matter. Like for example, deities. So can we say that deity is not Krishna? Yes, deity is Krishna, but deities is matter also. So matter gets transformed into spirit, when there is a pran pratishtha. So Krishna can get manifest into deities. Then we do deity worship, and that is called Pancharatriki Vidhi. But left-handed Tantra is a Apsiddhanta. Okay, it says that you can use any form of matter or any activity to achieve spirit, and you don't have to, obviously you can't use any matter. So there were many sahajiyas who have developed. They said that when you use your body, like for example, a male gets united with female and they have sexual intercourse, you can even please Krishna by that activity, because when you do like that, Shiva and Parvati enters into your body, and then you can perform this lila. So this was some deviant Saivites who were propagating this kind of philosophy. But Gaudiya Vaishnavas also took this philosophy and they started imitating about Radha and Krishna. And that's how this Sahajiya term, which we know that Sahajiya is very, very dangerous. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was very, very much against Sahajiyas. So these Sahajiyas will actually follow Ragamarg, and they will imitate Leela of Radha Krishna without proper qualification. And this was Up Siddhanta. It was very, very difficult for anybody to really clear it. And they were mainly focusing on Ragmarg. Even one time at Prabhupada's time, they told that Prabhupada, they are actually, they have made Gopi Bhav Club. So there was some devotees have made one club called Gopi Bhav Club. So they were thinking that we are gopis and we are, in that Gopi Bhav, doing some leelas with Krishna. And then Prabhupada said it is not Gopi Bhav Club. It is like Gai Bhais Charane Wale. They don't really have understanding proper, and they are doing all those things. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he upheld all the Siddhantas, and he actually destroyed all this Apsiddhanta. And when he established his logo of Gaudiya Math, he had a detailed logo where he had Rag mark depicting Radha and Krishna, and also Vidhi mark, which is depicting Lakshmi Narayana. And in between that, so if you see the logo of Gaudiya Vaishnava when he institutionalized Bhakti, there is a Radha Krishna, there is Lakshmi Narayana, and in between that you have Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, okay, which says that Rag Marg Pujya Panth Varg. So deity worship paraphernalia, and other side he also put Mridang, Kartal and a printing press. So Gaudiya Vaishnava logo has Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mridang, Kartal and printing press. So this is what basically he actually did, established, and he removed all the Apsiddhantas. Then he introduced principles of Yukta Vairagya. He says that he was actually renounced. So there is Sambandh Gyan, Abhiday Gyan and Prayojan Gyan. So Sambandh and Prayojan is fixed, but Abhiday is where Acharyas take liberty to make some adjustment. And then as we discussed earlier about Rolls Royce, so he actually, utility is the principle. The principle which Prabhupada gave us actually comes from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur only. And he took this Rolls Royce for preaching purpose, and he established printing press right in front of the deities in Mayapur. So there is a Gaudiya, Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. In that you have a wonderful deities of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur called Gandharvika Giridhari. So right in front of Gandharvika Giridhari, he established, he did Pran Pratishtha of this printing press. As we do deity installation, he also did that actually. And in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he actually named this printing press as Brihad Mridanga. So he says that as Kirtan need to be performed in front of the deities, you also need to perform Kirtan in front by way of printing press. So the books is actually Brihad Mridanga. So we need to distribute books and print books. And his focus on the print was so much that one time he actually told Prabhupada that when he established Gaudiya Math and there were fight between the resident of Gaudiya Math, he said that hope I can actually remove all the marbles and I can sell it and then print books whatever I can. And therefore he actually gave this important instruction to Prabhupada. He said that whenever you get money, you print book and distribute book. So this was an important instruction given to Srila Prabhupada. And then what he did was he also preached into contemporary language. So that was another. So our preaching, what was happening earlier, and the study was mainly in Sanskrit language, or in the West Bengal it was in Bengali language, in North it was in Hindi or Awadhi language, and in South India obviously it was Tamil, Telugu and those kind of South Indian language. But he actually started preaching in English language, and his English was so fantastic, as we already told that at the age of 5 he would give lecture on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and also write his commentaries and all. So his Sanskrit was, his English was so perfect that anybody who would like to read his Sanskrit has to keep his dictionary along with that. Indeed, one time a disciple of Prabhupada told Prabhupada that Prabhupada, I am trying to read this Brahma Samhita and I am not able to understand, what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying. It's very difficult for me. Prabhupada said, it is difficult for me also. So don't worry, read little by little, you will understand. So what language he wrote was so fantastic that even the Britishers, the Englishmen, indeed, Bhakti Vinod Thakur himself was a very good orator, and he would speak very good English, and that's why the Britishers kept him as the magistrate of Bengal, and he was like a judge who would give. So, but at this time, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was so extraordinary, brilliant, that one time a Britishers actually told that, oh English, I'm confused. So the word told by this Britishers was, oh English, I'm confused. I don't know, are you my mother tongue or his mother tongue? So they will also sometimes not understand what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will write. So they would need dictionary to understand what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would actually write. And that's what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told Prabhupada, because he had this missionary spirit to preach in contemporary language. He told Prabhupada in his first meeting that you are an educated man. Why don't you preach the message of Krishna consciousness around the world in English language? And Prabhupada said, Janna Pehchan Main Tera Mehman. In first meeting, he is giving this instruction. And then again, this instruction was given to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada remembered and kept this instruction in the core of his heart. And at the age of 69 years, At 70 years, Prabhupada traveled to America in the cargo ship, and he actually preached into English language, and the whole world, Prabhupada actually converted as Krishna consciousness. And in 12 years, Prabhupada circumambulated the globe 14 times. But this Britishers, they will actually mock Indian society so much, and they will actually, meaning you all are aware that how they destroyed our culture, how they destroyed our education system, how they destroyed our faith, and so many things. So in Bengal, because East India Company came there, and Bengal was like a hub of Britishers actually attacked on our culture, on our religion, in two ways: by way of Kali and Krishna. So they mocked worship of Kali, and they also mocked worship of Krishna. And they said that the worship of Kali is utter brutality, because Kali, the tongue is coming out, she's killing, and you are offering this goat and buffaloes to Kali. So it said that worship of Kali, the way of worship of Kali is utter brutality, and Krishna worship is utter immorality, because Krishna is with 16,108 ladies, and he is also doing ras with so many gopis in Vrindavan. So worship of Krishna is utter immorality, and worship of Kali is utter brutality. And they actually started breaking everyone's faith, because many people will not know that why we are worshipping Kali in that way, why we need to worship Krishna in that way. And everyone, because everyone has become so deviant, and therefore Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he has to introduce Lord Chaitanya's mission in English language. And it is sometimes very easy to preach when the slate is clear. So he introduced Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a Mahabhagavad, because Britishers did not know anything about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Obviously, they have read about Krishna, read about Kali, but Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur introduced Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as an ideal grahastha, as an ideal sannyasi, as an ideal person who actually preached, did lot of service in the society, and also made many people into so Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, sometimes he actually started writing books, and sometimes he will know that if I put my name, then the society might not accept it actually, or the Britishers will not accept. So he would put his disciple's name. So he will write the book, but he will put his disciple name. Now it is said that one time he chose Professor Nishikant Sanyal. So Nishikant Sanyal was in some foreign university, and he was very famous. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, a book, and he actually co-authored it along with Nishikant Sanyal, and he put his name. He said that I am not after name. I don't want name. I don't want to write my name, but people should know the message. They should actually write. And then there were few female disciples, Mataji's disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who were good writer. They had a good writing skill. So he would tell their female disciples to write, publish it in the Harmonist, and he will tell his sannyas disciples to go and distribute these Harmonist magazines. So there was two reasons. One was that by this way he would control the pride of sannyasis and brahmacharis, that they were thinking that they are superior. So they would distribute the writings of the ladies. And secondly, everyone can participate in Lord Chaitanya's mission. Okay, whether somebody is male or female, somebody is old or small, big, rich, poor, anybody, Lord Chaitanya's movement is meant for everybody actually. So, but he would be very, very strict about people staying in Gaudiya Math or in temple. He would say that don't use Gaudiya Math or don't use the temple to simply perform your sadhana, because that is another form of Mayavad, to use temple for your own sadhana without helping in the mission of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So even Prabhupada has got this missionary spirit from whom? He has got from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur only, of preaching, pran ache jar sei hetu prachar. So that one who has the life can only preach. So he would say that don't just sit in the temple, okay, wake up for Mangal Arti, attend Mangal Arti, chant your rounds, hear Bhagavatam, eat prasadam and sleep. No, go out and preach. That was the mission of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And he would say that, you please go and preach the mission of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He won't allow anybody to stay inside the temple. He would force everybody to go and preach. And there is a wrong conception also in India. Sometimes you feel that if you take shelter of a temple, 3 times you would get a meat. Ajgar kare na chakari, panchi kare na kam. Das Maluka kahe gaye sabke data Ram, that the giver is Lord Ram, he will give, why you have to work. But Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a revolutionary person. He wouldn't allow any of his disciples to stay in the temple. He will force them to go out and preach. And he said that if you simply use temple to perform sadhana, and when you go back home, back to Godhead, the door will open and the acharyas will ask you this question: what have you done to help the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Huh? And if you have no answer with you that I did not do any service, then you won't be allowed inside. You will be sent back to this material world. So he said that please perform, and therefore he actually uh, told some revolutionary sentences. Like he said, ultimate sadhana is your seva for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he would tell that don't try to see Krishna. Like I remember when I came very new to ISKCON, I liked this sentence so much that I made a printout and kept in 4 walls of my house in Bombay. So this sentence says that don't try to see Krishna, but try to serve him in such a way that he wants to see you. I really like this sentence so much, dear to my heart. He says that don't try to see Krishna, but try to serve him in such a way that Krishna wants to see you. And one time, one person came to Gaudiya Math, and for a long time, he was actually looking at the deities and having darshan of the deities, and for very, very long time. And when he came to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked him, how was your eye massage? He said, how was your eye massage? That, he said that it's not that you are just looking at Krishna and not doing any service. No, service is very important. Service takes over actually, so it's very, very important. And one time when he was giving class on Srimad Bhagavatam, some of his sannyas disciples, they came in between the class, and he asked the question that where were you? And they said that we had gone to the local temples to have darshan of the Lord, O Prabhupada. And he said that leaving the spiritual discourse on Srimad Bhagavatam given by your spiritual master and going to have darshan of the Lord is doing time pass. He says that अपने आध्यात्मिक गुरु का श्रीमद् भागवतम पर दिए जाने वाला प्रवचन छोड़ के स्थानीय मंदिरों में दर्शन करने जाना समय की बर्बादी करना है. He said, मैं फिर से दोहराता हूं, आप कान खोल दो ताकि आप स्पष्ट रूप से देख सको. Please open your ears so that you can see clearly. He would be very, very so he'll say that that is what very important. And he has actually written wonderful bhajan called Dushtaman Tumi Kisera Vaishnava. Dushtaman Tumi Kisera Vaishnava. So he's asking question that what kind of Vaishnava are you? Sometimes we may also ask this question, what kind of Vaishnava are you, to other person, but he is asking himself. He is saying that, oh my mind, what kind of Vaishnava are you? So it's not for himself. He is actually, telling for us to say that, please ask this question, in your mind that, oh my mind, what kind of Vaishnava are you? Are you a Vaishnava who is a real Vaishnava, or are you a fake Vaishnava? You are just doing bhakti only for pratishtha, or for name, fame, adoration, distinction, or you are doing real devotional service. What are you doing? So that's very, very important. So he would be very, very strict as far as the performance of devotional service and the sevas are concerned. It's not so. He has actually done so much. Sometime when somebody will come and he will ask question, who are you? And if somebody says that I am devotee of Krishna, then he'll say, go away, I don't have any time for you. But if somebody comes and tells that I am devotee of Krishna, then he'll say, I have whole day with you. You come. One time, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, he actually wanted to have a dialogue with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he came and he said that I have some question with you. And he said, okay, I will answer your question, but can you please, go and actually ask your question to my disciple, a brahmachari disciple. He will be able to satisfy your queries. So Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya goes there, and this disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is cleaning the vessel, as we know the story. And he says that I have some queries on Bhagavad Gita. I want to discuss with you. So he says that, okay, I will discuss with you, but if you can just help me in, cleaning the vessel, then I will be free, and then I will be able to, discuss with you. And as Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya started cleaning the vessel, automatically the answer actually got revealed. Seven mukhe hi jivhado, so that when we do service, obviously realization will come. So he would make people understand that this is very, very important, that you don't have to just be empty bullet, but you need to do some concrete devotional service. And that's what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur preached. And therefore, in even Prabhupada took this mood of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And he was also very, very heavy, when it came. And Prabhupada engaged devotees in so many different ways. One important aspect I will tell and conclude my discussion here, because our time is up. So that he actually introduced GBC. Okay, so one good thing which Britishers actually did to India was to introduce Indian railway system to them. So the idea of GBC was taken by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati from Indian Railway, from Britishers. So what Indian Railway they had done, they had divided the whole country into 4 zones: North Zone, West Zone, East Zone, South. So Northern Railway, Eastern Railway, Western Railway, Southern Railway, like that. So they made body, and the management of Indian Railway in those days was known as Governing Body Commission. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur actually introduced Governing Body Commission in Gaudiya Math also earlier, but because the disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur couldn't understand at that time, and because till then, the process of the spiritual process was actually, autocratic, in the sense that there is one person, who is actually telling, and people understand that, okay, Lord's voice is coming through this personality. But this democratic system of management was not very, very familiar with the disciples, so it couldn't actually happen. And when even Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur left his body, for 10 days the disciples tried to follow this GBC method, but then they couldn't, because obviously there were difference of opinions between them, and so many things happened. And because Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was not present, this system actually failed. So GBC is like a joint nuclear family. It is joint system, but it's also nuclear. So it's like achintya bheda bhed tattva. So like what Prabhupada actually took this idea from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and he established GBC at the time when he was there on the planet. So Srila Prabhupada reached America in 1965-66. He established ISKCON, and in 1970-71 he actually established GBC right in front of his eyes. And he also, what he did, he made this GBC function right in front of his eyes. And he also became one of the GBC, and he would attend meeting, and he made slowly, so that, because Prabhupada knew that after I leave, okay, there might be so many issues, problems and all, which did happen in ISKCON also. But still, Prabhupada was very successful in establishing Governing Body Council. So from 1970 till 2021, till this time, our GBC is functioning very wonderfully, and ISKCON has obviously progressed so much. So now we have like over 700 temples of ISKCON all over the world, many centers, and in each every part of the planet of the earth, we have at least the satsang, the centers of ISKCON, or some kind of satsang which is going on. And we have ISKCON as a body, as an organization, has distributed like 53 crore Bhagavad Gita on the planet. So, and so much of like book distribution happening, so many plates of prasadam meals has been distributed all over the world, so much of Harinam has been distributed, so many Gaur Nitais has been established at the corner of the world. So if we go to Russia, like there are like thousands and thousands of Gaur Nitai which are worshipped in Russia, China, Europe, America, and everywhere. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur dreamed this, that they will actually raise their hand and they will sing Jai Sachinandan Gaur Hari, which was the idea of Bhakti Siddhanta, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, given to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Srila Prabhupada took it from him. And Prabhupada always meditated upon the orders of his spiritual master, and he told also that never there was a time when I was separated from my spiritual master. Okay, so he was always there with his spiritual master, and with the blessings of spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada could create a revolution all over the planet. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and then all the whole Guru Parampara and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are very fortunate to get connected to this wonderful Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and that we can also make our life successful if we strictly follow the principle given by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and worship the way which is being presented by Srila Prabhupada, that we chant our rounds very sincerely, very seriously. We follow four regulative principle to the core of our heart. We support ISKCON movement by being the servant of the servant of the servant, and with cooperation, which is very important in this world, because without cooperation, nothing can go forward, and the cooperation will not come till the time we pass through the gateway of Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. So if we can actually become a very insignificant instrument that is for our good, the movement of Srila Prabhupada, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur would actually expand. It is our chance that we become part of that. Also, propagate the message of the holy name, give it to the whole world or wherever we can reach, and in this way we can make our life also successful. By this way we can please our Guru Maharaj, we can please Srila Prabhupada, we can please Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and we can please Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and ultimately Lord Sri Radha Shyam Sundar. So with this word I would like to stop here. Our time is up. I would also once again I would like to thank the devotees for giving me an opportunity. So if there is any shortcoming by any chance in my speaking, then please forgive me. You can please correct me also, and please pray for me that I can also develop the humble mode of service in the mission of Srila Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very inspiring, very wonderful discourse. You have given enlightened in so many aspects of our Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj and the Guru Parampara. So thank you so much. Devotees, any questions? Prabhuji, you can take some questions if there are.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Given so much importance in our ISKCON. So from today's lecture, I came to know how it was a mission of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji, and Prabhupada has taken in a right manner. And that is the reason we focus too much on book distribution as we do Harinam distribution at the same time. There were many points actually, which was like one thing which we have to ask question to our own self, whether is this the real Vaishnava? Are you the real Vaishnava? Which will, unclear the doubts or the laziness to work on the bhakti mark. Thank you, Prabhuji, so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhu, regarding book distribution, there is one more thing, that while Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur established temple, obviously he didn't want just resident to come in the temple and sleep there and eat prasadam and just chant their rounds. He knew that the movement will expand with the expansion of knowledge. Okay, and the knowledge would reach by way of the books, so printing. So he actually gave so much of importance that he actually put printing press in his logo. You can imagine that printing press is put inside the logo of Gaudiya Vaishnava. So he considered and he gave the name. Actually, I think he also gave that machine one name. I am not so Brahad Bhagwat, Brahad Mridang was a general term used by him, but he even actually gave name to that machine also. I'm forgetting from my mind. So he established this printing press machine right in front of the deities, and he said that this sound of cut when printing press actually makes the sound, that sound is like the sound of mridanga or kartal. So he always wanted to distribute books, and therefore he wrote Harmonist. He wrote many. Indeed, Bhakti Vinod Thakur also wrote many books. So they all started writing their books, and then obviously Prabhupada took it over from there, and he actually took his mission, because Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur told Prabhupada that whenever you get money, print books. That was one blank instruction given to Srila Prabhupada. Anybody has any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Swami Prabhu, for the wonderful class. Taking a clue from your wonderful lecture, Prabhuji, about book distribution, Today is 3rd of March. God Purnima is coming on 28th of March. So we have 24 days. So in next 24 days, my humble request to all of you is that let us try to distribute at least 7 books. Each one of us, if we can distribute at least 7 Srila Prabhupada books in next 24 days. So I had put it the flyer also on the group saying that let's each one of us can distribute Srila Prabhupada books 24/7. 24/7 doesn't mean that 24 hours, but what I wanted to say was that in next 24 days, at least each one of us, let us try to distribute at least 7 Srila Prabhupada books. Maybe smaller ones, Bhagavad Gita, whatever it is. So it will be a great service, and many thanks to Rasamit Prabhu for wonderful lecture, and I hope we all get motivated with the great, the effort put by Srila Prabhupada as well as by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The emphasis they have put for the book distribution and the wonderful nectars the books have it. So my humble request to each and every one of you is in your Bhakti Vikshas, Gita classes, children classes, wherever possible. It's a wonderful way to engage the further those devotees and people also. And we also get opportunity to serve as Rasamit Prabhu said that, effort should be more to do the seva. So this is a wonderful opportunity to serve also. So please, in next 24 days, at least 7 books. Each one of us, if we do it, so I'm sure in the whole yatra we can distribute a lot of books.